Hi, my name is Ryan, and welcome back to another exciting video. I sure am glad you're here with me to share the story of how I started to write. My writing experience began much like yours when I was in elementary school, when we were learning all of the rhymes and reasons of writing and arithmetic and all that other stuff. I can't remember the song my dad used to sing, reading and rhyming and arithmetic. Something about the teacher beating you with a stick. But that did happen. I think we got beat with sticks a lot when I was a kid. I'm sure some of you can relate. All right, so background knowledge, writing, just like you all. And I'm sharing this because I think it's important because I'm an educator. And I look at some of my writing experiences when I was a kid and when I was in elementary school. And it became a very hard thing to do back in that point in time. And I think it's because of the way they use the grading systems. For example, like whenever they would grade our writing, we would always get scored on grammatical and spelling errors and punctuation errors, which is legit. I mean, that is normal, okay? That is normal. However, any kind of writing that we would do, I remember this, is that it would always get scored on that. They didn't score you on creativity, because scoring on creativity is very difficult to do, okay? So I think that's a lot of problem I had when I was writing, and maybe some of you can relate, is that the scoring criteria on how they assessed your skills of writing was based upon your ability to follow grammatical and punctuation type rules. Okay, that was it. That was the essence of how you were scored. It wasn't about your imagination. It was all about how you wrote. And I struggle with that because you get dinged so many points, you start getting performance anxiety. So I was afraid to start writing and really letting it go because I was so caught up with, does a comma go here? Is this what's a proper noun? I'm not a freaking English teacher, so I'm a computer science teacher. And anyhow, so it's like, you're always worried about punctuation, did I end the sentence right? Is it an incomplete sentence or a complete sentence or this or that? And it really stymies the flow of your stream of consciousness to be able to put together something that's very long and coherent and actually starts formalizing a picture. Kind of like using your words to have some sort of spatial visual effect on the reader. So I think that does hamper that capability for younger writers. And this is a true strategy. I'm just not making this stuff up, because whenever we're teaching students that are learning how to speak English, for example, just because I'm in the United States and that seems to be the majority language at this point in time. So whenever we have students move here and they're learning English, you don't want to over-critique them, because you don't want them to get so caught up with the details and the little rules that it stops that stream of consciousness. It stops that confidence getting building and building and building. Okay, so I think that was a big deal for me younger, kind of like, with other people and people learning foreign languages, that you get beat down with the rules so much, you're afraid to test the waters and actually try to go out on your own. And that doesn't hold true for everybody. Everybody's different. That was just my particular type of learning style based upon, my DNA, based upon the environment I was in and some other things, which that's a whole other story right there too. And yeah, remind me to tell that story of where I grew up. Okay, now that gives you a little bit of background knowledge. And it's not meant to make you feel bad for me. I mean, it's normal, all right? It's just it's the way education works, okay? And I'm sure students of mine feel the same way. Now, writing was never something I really enjoyed to do. I had some fun with writing, especially when we did creative writing in certain English classes, and I probably wrote some stories in high school that were probably pretty stupid, but nonetheless, it was a lot of fun. But I remember we would have creative writing. I always got into it. I was like, man, I'm going to make something sound crazy and funny, and we're going to have a good time. And I always got really good feedback from those teachers. Not on the grammar, but on the actual the imaginative side of the story. So that was kind of cool, having some teachers give you positive affirmations based upon something like that. But then I got into college, and again, writing was kicking up to a next level, and I wasn't really interested in it. It's like I had no interest in writing because I was mainly just in college to play sports. I thought I was going to go to the NFL and all this other kind of nonsense at that point in time. And I remember I had a class. It was one of my composition classes where we had to do a research paper, and I was a psychology major, so it was an APA format. And I was lazy. Okay, I was really lazy. And what happened was I wrote a paper in APA format, and I made the whole thing up. I didn't do any research. I just made up all the research. Like, it was a complete fabricated fictional piece of research. It was like, I didn't do it on purpose. I was just doing it to be lazy, so I didn't have to go research and read. So I just made all this crazy crap up. And this is when it hit me. It's like I turned it in, and I got accused of plagiarizing. And the teacher said, this writing is too good to be yours. It's like, this is not you. This isn't you have been written basically bunches of pieces of garbage up to this point in time. And now you turn in this like excellent research paper. They're like, we're calling you on this. And so I had to go meet with the dean of the school. I can't remember which college it was. The writing school, or whatever you want to freaking call it. All right, so I had to go meet with him. Then that was kind of embarrassing. Because I had to admit that I was like, well, I kind of made the whole thing up. It was about fetal alcohol syndrome. And they're like, what? Like, you made this whole thing up? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I made up everything. And they double checked it too. They researched it, and they're like these scientists didn't even exist or anything. I mean, it was complete nonsense. And anyhow, but they said, well, you did a good job writing it, but it's not part of the paper. They didn't fail me or kick me out or put academic sanctions on me for academic dishonesty. Instead, they gave me a D, which was cool because I still got credit for the class and I was able to move on. Then I had another writing teacher. This isn't going good for me. I was having anxiety about writing at this time. I didn't like it. I felt like I was flying under the radar. I didn't have any confidence in it. Then I had this other teacher, and he made things worse because he was a bear. He was a bad teacher. And so, it didn't go very well in that instance with him. And I kind of made him mad because I started bad-mouthing the Dallas Cowboys and some other things. And come to find out, he loved the Dallas Cowboys. So, yeah, there it is. So he didn't like me very much, and I didn't like him. And, that didn't end well either. I got a D in that class as well. But I knew I had to get better at writing because I knew that it's like, this is an important skill. It's a weakness of mine. I've got to get better at this. Kind of like public speaking, talking in front of people, making videos, and keeping eye contact on the camera. It's like all something we have to improve ourselves. And so, anyhow, I had to take technical writing classes because I was no longer in the school of psychology. And now long story short, I switched my major 6 times, but I ended up in the school of business with a degree in logistics, pursuing a degree in logistics. And we had to start taking technical writing classes. And that was an eye-opener. And I really, really wanted to get good at writing at that point in time. So I put all my focus into writing and learning and asking questions from the professor. And something clicked. And that was the first time in my entire life that I got nothing but A's on all my writing assignments. And especially technical writing. Technical writing that's pretty hardcore stuff. And so anyhow, that was like a big eye-opener for me. It was huge. I got some A's, and that gave me a lot of confidence. And I was like, hey, I can do this. I can write stuff. I can participate with the rest of the people that write, the writers, the writing people, whatever we call them. So anyhow, that's a little background knowledge on me and my writing and education. I'm sure some of you can relate to this. Maybe you can't. Maybe a lot of people are very good writers. I see a lot of students that are excellent writers, and I'm very proud of their skill sets, and wish I had those same skill sets when I was younger. All right, that's all I got for you. Hope you're enjoying the videos. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you later, and that's all I got.